Hello, today is Veterans Day, so it's November 11th, so happy Veterans Day to all of our veterans out there. I'm here today from the Office of Social and Emotional Wellness at the DOE, and I'm here with Rick Frost, my dear friend and colleague, to talk about how families of a deployed veteran or a veteran might be feeling today and some of the things they're thinking about. So really quickly, an overview of Veterans Day. It was initially conceived as a first anniversary of the ending of World War I in 1919. In 1926, it was conceived as a legal holiday to perpetuate peace through goodwill. And in 1938, it actually became our national holiday. So Rick Frost is the staff sergeant at the New Hampshire National Guard, where he serves in a variety of roles. He is our counter-drug specialist, and he works with communities and families to make sure that kids and families and communities have all of the awareness they need to remain drug-free. Rick is also a photojournalist, and I know he's super interested in StoryCorps. He's a father, and I know he has two dogs, one dog?
Two dogs.
Two dogs.
Yeah.
So Rick, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to turn it over to you and go ahead and share with us your experiences on what we can do to help kids, youth of all ages, when they have a family member who might be deployed or might not be around because of work commitments.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for thinking of me for Veterans Day. I've got a couple deployments under my belt at this point. One to a combat zone, one to as a part of a humanitarian mission. As you can see, I work as a photojournalist when I'm out in the field. My regular job is working with the National Guard doing counter-drug work, so we work in a few different capacities. But regardless, yeah, thank you for thinking of me. There's a lot to be said, I think, when you're talking to a veteran about the sacrifice that they've made. Again, I'm honored to be included on that list of all of those folks that have given during those times of need. I've always felt very strongly that there is, another group that I love seeing recognized, especially as part of my contribution, and that is, my family. I've been married a couple of times. We've merged families back and forth, and there's unique attributes to all of that, but I consider us all one big family. And, there's a lot of sacrifice that my family members have experienced during my times when I've been away, not just for deployments, but also for trainings and things of that nature. So I don't just consider the deployments the hard times. It's the separation in general during those trainings. And, there's a lot I think that a community could do to help, not just help those kids that may not even feel like their sacrifice is even part of these deployments or part of these missions, but there's other factors that might come into play. And I'll tell you, there's one thing that just it jazzes me the most, and that's when I am separated or when I am away. If I know that my kids are being well taken care of, and that, most importantly, that they're happy, that makes my job, it's so much easier, so much, I feel so much more effective, able to focus. There's a lot of guilt that's associated with being away from family members during the holidays or during birthdays, or, even just, the first touchdown, the first goal, the first published piece of artwork, whatever it might happen to be. You miss those accomplishments sometimes. But the things that make those moments easier are knowing that your kids are still happy, even when you're not away. So I tell you, just helping out with making the kids feel like their sacrifice is recognized. Not only that, but even helping out with addressing some of those unique challenges that pop up while we're away. Things like being able to make it to an event or a performance or a soccer game or whatever. while we're away, our spouses or the rest of our family kind of have to pick up the slack, and that's hard to do. And they don't get recognized for those. So without distracting away from, the intent of Veterans Day, and I get it, however, if somebody said, how could we best honor you, Sergeant Frost, I would say, take care of my family while I'm away. And that I think would be the best way that you could honor me. Just speaking for myself though. So, but
that's great. Rick, if you could tell, I'm not sure how old your kids are, your children are, but if you could say one thing to their teachers before you were to be deployed, for example, what would you ask the teachers to do or say or be aware of?
I would say, know who they are, first of all. I would say, know what they might be feeling right now, because despite everyone's unique challenges as they're going into the day, these kids have one additional unique challenge in their day, and that is that they're down one caregiver. That could be the primary giver. So I think just having an awareness that you're dealing with a kid who's one of their caregivers may not be in the picture today, knowing who they are is definitely the first step, I think. We're not asking for preferential treatment. We're not asking for special treatment, that sort of thing. Just know that there are things that you can do to help that specific kid in those instances. A little bit of understanding, a little bit of empathy, a little bit of sympathy for the fact that there might be some other stuff going on in their day that's causing them to, I don't know, maybe they're acting up a little bit, maybe they seem a little bit distracted, that sort of a thing. Not asking for a free ticket. Again, I'm just saying, just consider the fact of, their family member might be deployed when you're crafting your response to those kids. Honor them, recognize their sacrifice. I wouldn't say call them out on unless they want to be, that's something we talk about before these deployments, but a little bit of honoring them individually and in particular, I think can go a long way. Build their confidence, build their esteem. And I think that can be very, very helpful.
That was you. I had a question for you, but you answered it. Do many of these kids want to be recognized within the classroom that their caregiver is possibly, either away or have they been deployed? Yeah. But I think you answered that. Talk to each individual student and find out, because their needs might be very different.
Absolutely. Some kids may really benefit from being called out. Some kids not at all. I think it's very important to have a short conversation with family and with the young person to identify, do they want to be called out? Yeah, they may not want to be. I think that's a very important conversation to have, very important. So absolutely.
So really, what other recommendations or advice would you have for communities to work with families of deployed or not deployed service members?
Right. So this, family separation like this is definitely a contributing factor that can lead to a whole slew of other, behavioral health concerns. I won't go down the laundry list of things that can come about, but just being aware of this additional contributing factor, I think is very, very important. If the school wants to get organized to help with that, then definitely those caregivers that are going to be there in those times of need should be aware, that this child is experiencing that additional contributing factor. But on the other side, in the preventative sense, if we show some pride, if we recognize the sacrifice, if we boost them up a little bit during those times, there may not be that need for future intervention. And so I think, you can show empathy and sympathy and help with their, recognize their sacrifice before things become problems. If we're proactive with that, I think that can go a long way too. Maybe keep kids out of the offices or that sort of a thing. So, obviously there's going to be times where folks slip through the cracks, and that's where the help is needed as well. So, but definitely don't discount that proactive approach. Don't discount, affecting the wellness of these kids. by building them up, so that they can have their scale tipped in their favor. It'll better prepare them for some of the other challenges that might happen during the course of the day. Some of these kids may have been up until 3 a.m. so they could say goodbye to their father or mother or caregiver or whatever. Lack of sleep is going to have an impact. So just little things like that, just that awareness. So.
Rick, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for serving. Thank your family and your kids in particular for I don't want to say putting up with, but managing all of these challenging times when you're here and when you're deployed. So again, happy Veterans Day to all of you veterans out there and all of your families. And Rick, closing words from you before we end the session.
Oh gosh, no, just thank you for thinking of me, and thank you for helping to honor me by letting me talk a little bit about me and my family, and I hope it helps.
Thank you.
Thank you.